In this episode, we're going to memorize the reactants and products for both photosynthesis and aerobic respiration, and we're going to do all that with a pair of mnemonic stories. Mnemonic Tales. Photosynthesis turns energy from sunlight into nutrients, normally glucose. Aerobic respiration turns those nutrients into energy in the form of ATP, the molecule that powers cellular activity. The two processes have a cyclical relationship. The products of photosynthesis are the reactants in respiration, and the products of respiration feed back into photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, the reactants are carbon dioxide, water, and energy in the form of sunlight. The products are glucose and oxygen. In aerobic respiration, the reactants are glucose and oxygen, while the outputs are carbon dioxide, H2O, and energy, though in the form of ATP. Notice how the two processes are effectively the same but in reverse. This, of course, streamlines the memorization process. To that end, I'll tell you two separate stories, one for each process. You can memorize both, or pick one out of the two, knowing that the other process is the same but in reverse order. Let's get to it. Photosynthesis. We start with carbon dioxide and water, two of the three reactants. A car is parked at a dockside next to a lake. Car dockside is the substitute for carbon dioxide. The lake is the substitute for water. Car dockside, carbon dioxide. Lake, water. The third reactant, sunlight. The sun beams so heavily that the lake water evaporates. The sun is the substitute, if you want to call it that, for sunlight. Sun, sunlight. The two products of photosynthesis, glucose and oxygen. An opportunistic fox runs into the dried-up lake bed to chase a once-floating goose. Fox is the substitute for oxygen, and the goose is the substitute for glucose. Fox, oxygen, goose, glucose. Now aerobic respiration. We start with glucose and oxygen, the reactants. A fox is chasing a goose. As before, fox is the substitute for oxygen, and goose substitutes for glucose. The three products of aerobic respiration: water, carbon dioxide, ATP, energy. We begin with H2O. The goose flies into a lake to escape. The lake is, once again, the substitute for H2O. Carbon dioxide. As the fox ponders its next move, it gets startled by a car parked dockside. Car dockside is again subbing for carbon dioxide. The final product, ATP. The frightened fox scampers into a teepee to hide. ATP is clearly the substitute for ATP. ATP, ATP. Now the quick versions, starting with photosynthesis. A car is parked at a dockside next to a lake. The sun beams so heavily that the lake water evaporates. An opportunistic fox runs into the dried lake bed to chase a goose. Aerobic respiration. A fox is chasing a goose. The goose flies into a lake to escape. As the fox ponders its next move, it is startled by a car parked on the dockside and runs into a teepee to hide. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned and enjoyed. Come by again, like, subscribe, share. Take care.